Okay, good morning and welcome. My name is Betty Ivory, Chief Civil Service Examiner and host for today's Civil Service Commission meeting. Gerald Eatman, Civil Service Examiner 4, is our co-host. Seeing that we have quorum of our commission members, at this time, I give the meeting to our Civil Service Commission President, Pastor Gregory Jordan.
Good morning. The first item on our agenda today is our roll call. Members of the commission: Michael Flickinger, Vice President.
Present.
India Pierce Lee, Secretary.
Present.
And Daniel J. Brennan and Cyrus Patton are absent, and Gregory Jordan is present. Counsel: Jason Shachner, Assistant Director of Law.
Present.
Patricia Aston, Assistant. Thank you. Rachon Long, Interim Executive Director.
Present.
Leanne Guzman, Assistant to the Executive Director.
Present.
Lila Abrams Fitzpatrick, Administrative Manager.
Present.
Okay, I hope I don't butcher your name. Cheyenne Scott Chapman, Assistant Director.
Present.
Patricia Donovan, Supervisor of CS Records.
Present.
Tila Harris, Assistant Administrator. Betty Ivory, Chief CS Examiner.
Present. Ms. Tila is available.
Okay, thank you. Daryl Eatman, Civil Service Examiner 4.
Present.
Tamika Johnson Tanner, Civil Service Examiner 2.
Present.
Denise Sims, Civil Service Examiner 3.
Present.
Christopher Smith, Civil Service Examiner 3.
I believe he's absent.
Moving on to our agenda guest, Angela Callahan and her representation.
Present. No representation.
Thank you. Stephen Carcione and his representation. Joseph DeMuzo and his representation.
Sure.
Dylan Rodriguez and his representation. Matthew Cole, Director, Department of Human Resources.
Present.
Keith Comer, Administrative Manager, Department of Public Utilities.
Present.
Danielle Graham, Executive Commissioner, Department of Public Utilities.
Present.
Kat Houston, Occupational Health and Safety Unit Manager, Department of Risk Management. Carrie Howard, Director of Department of Public Safety.
Sir, Ms. Houston is on. She just didn't respond quickly.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 2, accepting of today's agenda.
Motion to accept.
Secondly.
It's been moved and seconded to accept today's agenda. All in favor?
Leon.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Item 3, approval of the minutes from the August 25th, 2023 commission meeting will have to be tabled until we have a quorum of those who attended that meeting. Item 4, approval of the routine matters.
Motion to approve. Flickinger.
Secondly.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Leon.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Item 5, executive update. We have someone from the commission to speak to this or to read this.
Pastor Jordan, if I may, I will read this on behalf of the administration who's making the recommendation for your consideration. This is a
Thank you.
resolution to make the permanent appointment of Rachon Long to the position of Assistant Director for the Office of Civil Service Commission. It says, be it resolved that under the authority conferred upon the Civil Service Commission of the City of Cleveland, Ohio, under sections 125, and 127 of the Charter of the City of Cleveland. Rachon Long is appointed as Assistant Director to manage the day-to-day administrative functions of the Office of the Civil Service Commission and to perform such other services as are necessary for the administration of the office.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Flickinger.
Second, Lee.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Lee, aye.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Congratulations, Rachon. Item 6, consideration of the ministerial correction to the eligible list for the classification of airport field maintenance worker.
Good morning, Gerald Eatman, Examiner 4. Excuse me. I am requesting a ministerial correction to the eligible list for the classification of airport field maintenance worker. This one individual, he was out of town at the time of the original test. He asked for permission to test late prior. So this correction is necessary to add his name to the above mentioned list.
Motion to approve, Flickinger.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Lee, aye.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Item 7, consideration of the request from the Department of Public Safety to create the classification of public safety administrator. Do we have someone here to speak to this item?
I can speak to it. So this is going to be similar to our fellows program. It's a one-year program. The position is pretty much entry level. And there are about 15 to 20 participants.
Motion to approve, Flickinger.
Second, Lee.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Lee, aye.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Item 8, consideration of the request from the Department of Public Utilities Division of Cleveland Public Power to amend the duties and minimum qualifications of line clearance worker.
Good morning, Commission. This is Danielle Graham from Public Utilities. And this is basically, excuse me, to update the minimum qualifications to include a class A as well as B. What is required is more so class B as opposed to class A, but we're incorporating both of them. And just to be able to expand recruitment opportunities to be able to draw more candidates.
Motion to approve, Flickinger.
Second, Lee.
It's been moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
Lee, aye.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Item 9, consideration of the request from Angela Callahan to be reinstated to the eligible list for the classification of storekeeper. And before we have any statements on it, I want to ask the city, are there any objections to reinstating Ms. Callahan?
Morning, no
no-
objections. Oh,
There you
sorry, Daniel.
No, that's fine. Keith Cromer is there. That's fine.
Yeah, no objections.
Pastor Jordan, since there are no objections, I make a motion to approve the request.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request. All in favor?
Lee, aye.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. That motion was approved. Do you all want to give Ms. Callahan any instructions before we move on?
Thank you. My apologies for Ms. Callahan. Please be aware that you are being returned to, that you are not being returned for immediate employment by the city. By Civil Service Rules 10.98, you are being returned to the eligible list for storekeeper. Yes, for a storekeeper for a period of 1 year from the date of today's commission meeting. When a city department has a vacancy for this classification, you may be considered for an opportunity. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please contact our office after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, consideration of the request from Carrie Howard, Director, Department of Public Safety, for an order relative to Stephen Corcione, Lieutenant, Division of Police, in accordance with Civil Service Rule 9.10, Section 14. Are the parties that concerned with this, are they all the parties available?
Yes.
Thank you. And I did believe that I heard that Mr. Corcione was online. Are you here, Mr. Corcione? Is his representation here?
I do see someone using a phone. Is that the group? And if you put yourself on mute, did you do *6 or you use your own device to mute yourself?
The group sitting at the table.
Okay. We can hear you now.
Thank you. All right, let's move forward. I'll allow, actually, I don't know, I want to ask, do we need to go into executive session because we are talking about some medical information?
So typically, just from my experience in the past, the police union, they waive reading of the statement of the facts. I don't know if that's how they wanted to proceed again today, because there is a lot of personal health information in here, but I'll let them kind of speak to that if they'd like to.
Can the representation for Mr. Corcione speak to what Ms. Howard has just said?
Miss Houston, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Ms. Houston. Please forgive me.
That's okay.
Gentlemen, you're going to have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
I don't know if they lost connection. I don't see the phone call in the list at this time.
So let me ask a question of you, Betty. So these next couple of items, we're going to be dealing with the same representation. Am I correct?
I believe there's different representation for Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll table item 9 until the end. We'll move it to the end and we'll try to get everything cleared up. Moving on to item 11, which is consideration of the request from Carrie Howard, Director of the Department of Public Safety, for an order relative to Joseph DeMuzio, Lieutenant, Division of Police, in accordance with the Civil Service Rule 9.10, Section 14. Can I hear from the representation for Mr. DeMuzio?
Yes, sir.
Pastor Jordan, this is Joe Mando. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, yes.
I changed the setting on the microphone. So Mr. DeMuzio, Lieutenant DeMuzio, is also a member of the FOP. I'm appearing here on his behalf as well, although I think he wants to say some things in his own respect as well.
Oh, certainly, we have no problem with that. What we wanted to clear up is that these issues for the people you're representing today have a lot of medical information. And as Ms. Howard spoke to the other item, can we waive the reading of all of the medical information? If we do need to go to his medical information, we need to go into an executive session.
Yes, we would waive reading in both cases.
Okay, thank you. So since we are on the record right now for Mr. DeMuzio, we'll move forward. The way that this will operate, that each of you will have a total of 10 minutes total maximum to discuss your side of the issue. So we will allow you, the police union, to speak first on Mr. DeMuzio's behalf, or he can speak however you decide.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Lieutenant DeMuzio.
Question. Before you start, question. Is there any objection to what's being recommended?
Thank you.
No, we have no objection on behalf of the union.
Okay, well, then if there's no objection, do I have a motion?
Approve the request.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request. All in favor?
Yeah.
Flickinger, aye.
Ms. Ivory. That motion is approved. Ms. Ivory, do you want to give them any instruction?
This is in general, the Office of the Civil Service Commission will communicate with you, Mr. DeMuzio, to schedule an appointment for you.
Oh, hold on a minute. I'd like to take a step back. I'm sorry. This is my first one of these proceedings. What is the recommendation? I really don't understand what's gone on here.
Right, well, what was asked of you all is, do you object to the request? If you object to the request, then we will hear both sides. If you don't object, then the vote that we were to have taken will stand as record.
Sir, what is the request? I'm not sure I understand.
All right,
Pastor Jordan, I'd like to recommend we go into executive session for this.
Thank you. Hold on a second, everyone. We're going to go into executive session.
Okay.
Absolutely. As the commission members are being moved to executive session, the live stream will be discontinued and will be.
Sorry, you have to vote to go into executive session.
Yes.
Sorry.
Vote, please.
I have a motion about executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we go into executive session. All in favor?
Yeah.
Flickinger, aye.
Jordan, aye. It's been approved to go into executive session.
Thank you. As the members or commission members and subjects at hand are going into executive session, the live stream will end and we'll be in this area for a moment. Not everyone's going.